Jingle bells, Murtaugh smells, Riggs trying to kill himself. John McClane fights a plane and Hans Gruber got away. Hey! Oh, Conrad, you were supposed to sing something next.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jono. Instead of listening to you, I was not. But whatever it was, as long as it's not you taking some old standard Christmas song and inserting references to the movies we watched just to try and make it fit for an intro, then we're all set.
Hey, my songs are good.
You do this every time.
Ho, ho! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Film Fights. I am your fearless host, Jono Rodriguez. And with me, of course, is my nighttime Carolyn. Carolyn in the city. Big chest Barrelin. Will Ferrellin, the movie Elf. Conrad Hartman. Hello, Conrad. How's it going?
Hey, John. It's me. I make toys.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Wait, is that Will Ferrell?
No, it's a regular elf.
Oh, it's a regular elf. You're playing an elf, playing Will Ferrell, playing an elf.
Man, listen, I get so deep in these characters.
Oh, yeah.
I'm method, baby.
Yeah, you're deep like an iceberg.
I went and lived at the North Pole for 16 months to try and be an elf. And let me tell you, all I got was frostbite, and that's it. So
It was a good try, though. I remember. I saw the pictures. All three.
Oh, boy, it sure is chilly here in the Christmas time apartment studio here in this frigid 75-degree weather. Who's ready for a cup of hot cocoa and some Christmas movies?
That's right. Christmas movies, in fact. Now, speaking of movies, what do we do on this movie-based podcast?
Oh, yeah. Well, I think that if you were to really ask philosophically, we pick two movies and pit them against one another in a brutal grudge match, with one coming out on top to reign supreme. Just one man's opinion. We are pitting two movies against one another as per usual. However, every year we do like traditional Christmas movies, and these movies are hotly debated as to whether or not they are Christmas movies. So we thought that might be a fun little spin on the season.
Oh, yeah. Christmas movies that people say are not Christmas movies, but some people say they are. That's a good, very specific genre. Also, in parentheses, also action.
Things that people say they are and other people say they are not. So today we're going to talk about whether or not they are. Yep.
Well, I mean, we're not going to talk about whether they are or not. They are.
I think that most people like this show because we are so concise.
We very are.
Yep. Of course, we'll be talking about Lethal Weapon versus Die Hard, the car battery.
The car battery, yeah. Yep. I mean, I thought, talking about a car, like one of the best, we're not sponsored by them yet, but one of the best car batteries you could ever buy for your vehicle versus, the concept of being a walking death machine.
Yeah, I actually thought Lethal Weapon was an odd choice for a battery manufacturer as well. But, what can I say? So tonight we'll be rating their voltage. We'll be rating their die-heartedness, their lethalness.
Yeah.
Lethality, if you will.
Their lethality.
Yeah. There's one thing I look for in a car battery, and it's lethality.
Well, I mean, I hope it isn't die-hardly worth the effort. I didn't even think to make that joke, so it's okay if it's not funny, because I wasn't really sold on it as I said it. But I said it anyway. So what movie should we talk about first? Should we do a little coin toss? A twink toss? A twink toss.
Twink toss, that's something I've been privy to before, and let me tell you, it is difficult but satisfying.
Well worth the 18-hour flight.
Look, I love pad thai. What can I say?
Yeah, don't DM us about that. We don't know in quotations.
I went for the food. So, Jono, actually, before we dive into the movies themselves, I'd like to address the white elephant in the room.
Oh.
Christmas game.
I thought you were talking about because there was an Aryan thing. And that's Lethal Weapon 2. I'm sorry. Shit. God damn it. Okay, just real quick, before you get to that, I literally watched Lethal Weapon 2 immediately after seeing Lethal Weapon, so I may slip on what's in either one.
Expect mistakes. I can't wait. And not like my steaks, like mistakes.
Well, I like my medium rare, so don't miss that.
So, if I'm not mistaken, a little birdie named you told me that you don't like Christmas movies, which, chagrined me because we have done so many episodes about Christmas movies in the past. So, would you care to expound on that?
Well, it brings a chagrin to my face when I think about how much I don't like Christmas movies, because I actually... You shouldn't have used that word. But I actually do. All right. I have exceptions, but the exceptions, one might argue, are long enough to be like, okay, Jono, you just don't like certain movies. And it's like, yeah, they're called Christmas movies. But, I like Home Alone. You know, I like, what was the other one?
You're asking me?
Well, yeah, like you would know. I like Christmas Vacation.
And that's like an absolutely no question Christmas movie.
Yeah. And I like a Muppet Christmas Carol.
Oh, that's my actually, literally, that's my favorite Christmas movie. I watch it every year.
I mean, I like all the Muppet movies, so that to me, that's the justification. It's like, it has less to do with Christmas than it does with Muppets.
Oh, Kermit goes to Christmas. Oh, why am I doing Kermit as Mr. as Mr. Piggy? What am I doing?
Mr. Piggy?
Listen, it's... Hey.
Gender swap Muppets. It's Kerma and Mr. Piggy.
Hey, Mr. Piggy.
Oh, wait, that wouldn't work because then Mr. Piggy would be slapping Kerma around.
Miss Piggy was very abusive.
Yeah, she was. Well, it was at the times.
They still make Muppet movies, so they're like an exception to cancel culture.
Hey, that murder movie with what was it called?
It was called
Melissa McCarthy. That was not a Muppet.
It was called Muppets Knives Out, and
no. I know what you're thinking of. I know where you're trying to go. You're trying to go with the Puppet Master remake, which was called Muppet Pastor, where it was about a pastor who was a Muppet and also kills people.
Hey, everyone. You should probably go to church. Also, you're going to go to hell if you don't believe in my religion. And then his wife is like, it's time to pass the collection plate, Kermit.
Maybe you should say your prayers because you're gonna die.
You go into confession, and the priest you confess to is just like, me, me.
And then you go, you're always talking about yourself. I'm here to confess my sins.
Oh, man, we need Muppet reboots of these movies we're talking about tonight. I think that Muppet Lethal Weapon, killer. No pun intended.
Wait, was that a pun?
I'm getting too old for this shit.
I'm getting too old for this felt. So anyway, all that to say, I don't really care for Christmas movies, but if they're Christmas action movies... That's a whole other story. You know why? Because they're action movies. It's all about giving. And what Riggs and Murtaugh, Gerber baby.
Riggs and Gertaugh.
Words and Gertrude.
What is this word salad?
What Lethal Weapon guys give us, they give us a good time. And also a solid relationship between two total bros, which I like to call brodels.
What, are they hanging out in the Alps selling Ricola?
Yeah, with that one guy who crossed the Alps with the elephants. What's his name?
Hannibal. That's
Not. Wait, no. He chopped people up and ate them.
That's
who you're
okay. I understand your confusion.
It's not
Hannibal
confusion.
Lecter versus Hannibal history. I don't know his
Hannibal of the Alps.
Hannibalps. Yeah, that's what we'll call him just to make it easy.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, the hills are alive with the sound of Murtaugh. Is
Hannibalams versus Hannibalps. Get your tickets today. It's the Super Bowl in the Alps.
We'll sell you the whole mountain, but you'll only need the ledge.
Speaking of snow, which exists in the Alps, Christmas.
Hey, real quick, I'm sorry. While we're talking about Sound of Music, yeah, that's right. On this Lethal Weapon versus Die Hard podcast where we're talking about Muppets. Real quick, about Sound of Music.
Yes,
I hate...
we have reached like Interstellar level of tangent right now.
This is the crossing of all of the timelines that we're all living in right now. I hate that people think My Favorite Things is a Christmas song. It's not. So let's just...
Wait, your favorite things are a Christmas song?
No, oh, I see your confusion. The song My Favorite Things from The Sound of Music is always played at Christmas time because she's like, I don't know, she says something like, little Christmas presents and stuff in your stocking or whatever. And
yeah, sure.
But that's... she's like singing that song to them in the springtime in the Alps. So I don't know.
Well, you know, classic us. Let me just divulge that into another area where that statement on its own, my favorite things are a Christmas song. I'm thinking, wait, okay, so Liquor. Is there a song called Liquor? Is there a song called Dungeons and Dragons? Of course there is. Tons, actually.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, your favorite things are a Christmas? Wait, but they're not. Is there a Dungeons and Dragons Christmas song?
Yeah, my favorite Christmas song is Skyrim and Pot. So,
and the band Ghost, they do a Christmas song, right? Or wait, they are a Christmas song.
They are a Christmas. The band itself
is a Christmas song. So anyway, Riggs is a guy who is a cop, and he says, "Hey, I'm gonna be a cop after my wife died."
Well, he was already a cop. He wasn't like, and now that my wife has died, time to put some law and order into this town.
Well, no, actually, no, that still rings true because he was going to suicide himself, and he was like, "Nah, I'm going to keep being a cop." So technically, what I said was true.
But he's like, "I'm going to keep being a cop that's like on the verge of hollow pointing my brain."
Oh yeah, he has, and very good use of telling us what's going to happen, but it doesn't because he does not suicide himself. In fact, he says, not out loud, but we just have to assume he said it. Like, hey, I'm not going to do that. I'm instead going to be like, I want someone else to suicide me, as in the bad guy. And they never do, you know?
I would love it if he said that in the movie. Listen up, Murtaugh. I'm not going to suicide me. They're going to suicide me. You dig?
You got
Riggs. That's a rig dig. And then Murtaugh's like, oh, you're not trying to get a crazy pension. You really are crazy. I'm getting too old for this shit and such.
Dude, I'm getting too crazy for this shit. That's what Riggs would say.
Oh, yeah, and that's why they bonded.
Yeah.
Because one of them's getting too old, one of them's getting too crazy, and together they're the odd couple that is the Lethal Weapons.
We're the odd weapons.
The odd weapons?
Both lethal, both odd. Coming to Fox this summer.
So there they are dealing with a Christmas suicide after too old cop is getting birthday singings while he's in the bathtub by his family.
Well, she couldn't wait to open her wrists for Christmas. She had to jump from the building.
Oh, boy. Ooh.
Hey, I piggybacked that line from a Fall Out Boy song, so I don't feel guilty at all.
That should make you feel guiltier. You should be like, not only is that derivative, but it's a derivative of a 14-year-old girl song, not the band 14-year-old
No,
girls.
no one's going to get that reference except me.
Yeah, well, it's just you and me in this apartment
People
studio
listening
right
are going,
now.
what music are they listening to? Are they listening to 14-year-olds?
If you look up 14-year-old girls,
You won't
10%
find
of you will like it.
10% of you may find what we're talking about. Others are going to find a K-pop band that's like got 7 members.
Yeah, and the rest of you are going to get put on FBI watch lists.
But hey, if you DM me, Jono, I can tell you how you can circumvent that shit.
Please don't tell people to DM you on the show about 14-year-old girls.
That's a perfect way to just get right back on track. Speaking of track, didn't it seem like they were on track to become cops?
Yeah, look, I don't understand what detectives' jobs are, I think. Because...
No?
Yeah, like no idea. Do they sweep the floor or do they put up paintings in halls? No, because they're like, 1 minute he's, if you're watching the director's cut, he's dealing with like a sniper situation. And then in one situation, he's doing an undercover coke deal in a tree yard where...
I gathered that to be the same day, both of those.
Yeah, it looked like the same day. Yeah. It almost looked like he was like, all right, I'm going to go grab a quick burger for lunch, and then it's time to go to the tree yard for my cocaine deal. And then he fakes them out, but when they say 100, he's counting out $100.
Oh,
and the guy has one of the best lines in the movie, which is the drug dealer man says, 100,000. $100,000. He repeats himself for emphasis.
And his eyes are like super wide. They were wide like sewers.
Cocaine. Oh, that's right.
That's the
Poop
same.
eyes. Yeah.
But yeah, they had moon pie eyes.
Moon pie eyes. Get them.
Moon pies.
Get them today by destroying your liver. So.
Well, it's moon p apostrophe eyes, like moon pie.
Oh, that's okay. That's a little classier.
Yeah, it's like Frank Sinatra when he said moon pie eyes.
What?
You know the song "When the Moon Pies."
When the moon pies like a big pie. Yeah, that's the original cut.
And then someone's like, whoa, you might want to change that lyric, Frankie, because moon pies are smaller than pizza pies, which are also smaller than the moon.
No one outpizzas the moon. I mean, the hut.
No one outpizzas the moon.
Yeah, and so then I guess their job is to invest. Then it seems like actual regular detective work, like, you know, making a suicide man jump when he was already gonna jump.
I feel like, okay, like I do like this movie, but there it seemed like in the first half of the movie they were kind of beating you over the head with the idea that Riggs is a suicide man, because it's like, get it? He's got a hollow point bullet. He put it in his mouth. Get it? And then at the sniper factory or the sniper school,
No, I like Sniper Factory.
at the sniper factory,
School's good too,
where they had children working there.
Yeah.
Like he's like, oh, I'm gonna walk in there, and then the Christmas tree haunting, and he's like, oh, go ahead and shoot me.
Christmas tree haunted.
Or a drug, whatever. It's the same thing. And then he goes, and then he's like on the roof with Mr. Suicide Man. Suicide Man in parentheses 2, because there's so many of them in the movie.
Suicide Man 2, The Reckoning. This time it's personal against me.
Like most suicides.
Like I said, most.
Well, because there's a stage suicide that politicians do all the time.
Oh, yeah, Bud Dwyer.
Yeah, he was set up. He was framed.
Yeah, he was just working for Big Gun.
He was actually trying to shoot the reporter. He missed by a lot.
He was not smart.
Well, his name was Bud.
If any of you listening, your name is Bud.
Don't be a politician.
Don't be. You're not cut out for it, Bud.
Yeah.
Okay?
You might want to like try hawking beer.
Maybe smoke Bud or sell Bud or like get a job as a, I don't know. What are some jobs?
Oh, you could get the job of the son in Married with Children.
Oh yeah, there you go. You could do that. You could be like a plant sprout, or like a flower that's not a flower yet.
Oh yeah, pre-flower as we call.
You could be friends with someone.
Wait, the show? Oh.
Yeah, you could be this show Friends. The Australian version is called Buds.
It's called Mites.
Mites. Well, didn't know that life was gonna be weird. So come on down to the pub and have a pint. I'm doing the melody of like a...
I don't know what's happening.
I'm doing the Mary Tyler Moore theme song with made up.
Well, everything's like slower there because of all the drinking.
They're still watching Mary Tyler Moore. They're still watching a show from the late 60s.
Yeah, soon they're going to be like, have you heard of this show called Happy Days?
Yeah. Oh, wow, it's revolutionary, mate. They're wearing leather jackets and listening to vinyl records.
Well, they did that in the 50s. It's a show about the 50s. Oh, my God, the 50s. And then that happened.
Oh, we were still just being criminal.
Yes.
Sorry, in Australia, only teasing. Does anyone listen to us in Australia?
No, they know their history. It's a rich history of criminals.
Yeah, or a history of kangaroos and criminals. Oh, my God. Why is there not an Australian band called Kangaroos and Criminals?
Or maybe criminal kangaroos. They have their own jails. It's crazy.
So there we are in Lethal Kangaroos. Oh, yeah, because Mel Gibson's Australian.
Well, he's a lethal kangaroo, right?
I do want to address this. I understand that for actors, it must be very difficult to do like accents and have them be believable. But in most of the movie, his American accent is really good. In most movies, his American accent's very good. But there were moments in this movie where it was like not good. And when I say not good, not like he was saying like I'd like a Marmite sandwich or whatever. He was like, it is food related though. When he's talking to Murtaugh and he's like, I'm gonna go get something to eat. You could tell he was like, this is after he had the gun in his mouth, and Murtaugh says, "You really are crazy," and you could tell he's like choking down his accent. They must have done that take 30 times.
Oh, I think he was just in the moment of being like, because you know when you're about to die from having a gun in your mouth or whatever
Of your own volition.
Yeah. And then like your cop buddy stops you at the last second, and you're just like, oh man, that was so crazy. Like, and you're like, whoa, did I really sound like that? I think it was more of just like him method acting about suicide. I think Richard Donner played the Phil Spector card and had a live gun, and it was a real gun, and and it was like,
I'm actually about to die right now.
It was like, all right, Mel, now you're gonna have a real gun in your hand, and wait, Richard Donner's not from Australia. But he was
trying to speak to Mel Gibson in a tone that made him comfortable.
He was trying to speak to him in his native tongue. As Mel Gibson prefers.
Yeah, of course.
So if you ever ask for an autograph from Mel Gibson and he says, "Get lost," you probably weren't doing it in an Australian accent.
That's right. You got to be like,
"G'day."
G'day. And he'll be like, "Oh, yes, sir. What can I do for you?" He talks in American most of the time, low profile.
Hey, can I get your name on this piece of paper or something? I butchered the shit out of that. I might can I get your autograph. I'm making fun of me and the inability to do an accent. Just so you guys know.
Suicide Man number 0, which is Riggs.
He's prime suicide.
He's prime suicide. He's patient 0 of suicide because he still hasn't done it. Yeah, man, this movie's really fun.
Oh yeah, it's absolute joy watching all these dramatic scenes of death. Now, the story, again, I saw Lethal Weapon 2 immediately after. So, but I do know that the story is about a bad guy who, Mr. Joshua. I have to connect to Mr. Joshua.
Got to talk about Mr. Joshua
because it's Gary fucking Busey, one of the gems in Hollywood today, or back then. Back then.
Do you mean to say gems, or do you mean gels?
No, I meant like GYM.
He's one of the best places to work out because you want to run away from him when he's talking.
Because when he talks to you, you are sweating bullets like, oh my God, is this guy going to murder me or talk me on my ear off? I don't know what's going to happen.
Get your heart rate up. All you got to do is just look at him for 5 seconds.
Literally, yeah. Oh, man. Ugh. But no, yeah, Mr. Joshua, he's a hardcore Green Beret man, right? Because they established that, oh, you have a Green Beret tattoo, that means you're a Green Beret man. And with which Riggs man is. He's a Green Beret man, they say it.
Riggs man, patient zero of suicide.
Yes, zero suicide. He has zero tolerance for people who aren't committing suicide.
That's why he's so angry all the time. He's like, why haven't any of you committed suicide?
Everybody's dying all the time. No, so they have a very manly fight at the end of the movie to prove that they are men, and this is the manliest movie that ever man-lead that did not have Stallone or Schwarzenegger or Van Damme in it. Which
Van Darn, please.
Oh, so excuse me, sorry, language. Jean Fool Van Darn. Now, okay, so, talking about the film for like 1 second, if we will. I thought this
Do
was.
We have to?
I thought this was so weird, like them fighting, you know, because like it's the end of the movie. The big boss has died, and it's like, oh, here's the henchman or the big heavy, as you will, like in these types of films.
Fat shaming, not okay.
All right, he was the heavy. You could be heavy and not be fat. You could be dense.
He was the pleasantly plump.
But he wasn't.
He was the BBW.
Of Lethal Weapon. Of LW.
He was the BLW.
He was the BLT, and I wanted to take a bite. Now, but so did Lethal Weapon Man, because he was like, we're going to fight because we're Green Berets or something. We got something to prove. They beat each other up, but obviously Riggs' zero suicide tolerance man wins. And as he's walking away, because like this is a thing about good writing, is like, oh, well, you know, he's not going to brutally kill him. He's the good guy. But then they brutally shoot him, but only because he was going to shoot them. Like, it's just self-defense math.
I like that we are justifying the murder of a bad guy. It's just not murder. Like
It's
they
not.
fought and then he killed him in self-defense. And you're like, look, he had to do it.
We all know how it works, okay? Like Jackie Chan does it all the time. He does not kill anybody.
And he was literally Mr. Nice Guy in that movie.
He was Mr. Nice Guy in that he did not kill anyone that wasn't already dead by someone else.
He didn't kill anyone that wasn't already dead.
And that movie was filmed in Australia.
Oh my God. So Jackie Chan was like, hi, I'm Mr. Nice Guy.
I'm Mr. Nice Guy. Nice to meet you.
Foster's. I love when, well, okay, I don't love when Mel Gibson is tied up being tortured, but I love that when he's tied up and he's about to be tortured.
We know the kinky things are into.
Mr. Joshua, who gets turned on by burning himself. Wink. As evidenced earlier in the film. I like that I'm calling this a film. He says, like, this guy's an expert on torture. That's my Gary Busey.
Was that Jack Palance? Was he in this movie?
Folks, I don't know if you've been listening to this show for a while, but all of my impressions are either Jack Palance, Jack Nicholson. That's it. Charles Lee Ray is also Jack Nicholson.
Yes, yeah. For those of you keeping track, in parentheses, might also be Charles Lee Ray. Jack Nicholson circa the 70s.
So Gary Busey's like, yeah, he's an expert in torture. And all he does is like pick up an electrified sponge and go, just like touch him with it. And I'm like, you know what? I don't know how much they get paid to do that, but like I could do that probably. I could pick up a sponge and touch someone with it and live with myself. And
well, I mean, Yeah, he says he's an expert in torture. Flash forward to the movie True Lies. If you remember when...
Such a good one.
It's so good. And I mean, there's tons of movies that do this, but that always comes to mind because he's such a tertiary character like this fellow, but he like has this big effort of like, here are all my tools and like here's all and but this guy, he just has a car battery, which might have been a Die Hard car battery.
Where's that sponsorship deal,
yo, come on, we're dying.
We didn't say anything bad about your batteries.
Horde. And it's a sponge and it's just like, I'm gonna electrocute you with it. Get it? Because electrocution plus water. I played Mega Man. I know that if you combine
electrocution plus water equals lethal weapon.
It is a lethal weapon.
Oh, just like Mel Gibson. Oh my God. It all connects. Lethal weapon versus lethal weapon.
He was so lethal weapon against himself. That's why he was suicidal.
Oh, that's sad. And, you and I off mic kind of talked about this earlier. And I think we'd be remiss if we talked about a buddy cop movie and didn't talk about the buddy part of it. I love that.
That's what makes it a Christmas movie.
That's
right. I mean,
right. Because Murtaugh was like Scrooge and what's his name? Lethal Weapon Man was like, I'm the ghost of Christmas now. And
I'm almost the ghost of Christmas.
Almost the ghost of Christmas past if you don't change my ways.
So the stakes are pretty high for Murtaugh.
Right. So at the end, Murtaugh's like, you gonna come in for Christmas dinner? And then Riggs is like, I was already coming, and I'm calling my dog into your house without asking you if it's okay if my dog comes into your house.
Yeah, how
for dinner?
how weird of a drive home would have that been if he didn't invite him in? He'd go in and be like, "Oh, sorry, dog. I guess I brought you along for no reason."
And then Murtaugh gets called the next morning. He's like, "What's up, Captain?" I'm assuming they are casual with each other. And the captain is like, "Riggs killed himself." I don't know what he sounds like. I don't know what the captain sounds like, but he's like, "Yeah, he left a note. It said, it's too bad I didn't have anywhere to go for Christmas dinner. Otherwise, this week has just been aces."
And then that Eric Clapton guitar plays.
Oh, yeah, we didn't talk about the fact that Eric Clapton did music.
It's not even important.
Oh, wow. Saying Eric Clapton's not important just because his son is dead.
Oh, God. Wait, was it suicide?
No.
Yeah, that's all getting cut out. The whole thing.
Let's just say that I think we all learned a little bit about ourselves and how to not lethal yourself. Don't get involved in a drug ring that makes you jump off a building smiling while you're on bleach pills or whatever. Don't buy one hollow point bullet. You buy them by the box. And Mel Gibson was like, I like one hollow point bullet, please.
Don't bury the lead when you're contacting your old Vietnam war buddy about your daughter being mixed up in a thing. That's and you're like, oh, well, I was going to confess to everything anyway, because he was.
Yeah.
He was going to, because it was established that he tried contacting Murtaugh days before.
Right.
And yet when he finally does contact him, after his daughter died, he's like, oh, can you just look into it? He could have confessed right then and there, and then it would have been the end of the movie. It would have been a nice short film.
Right. Like in this, he might as well have been like, hey, Murtaugh, it's me, your Vietnam friend. And I am roasting a whole pig this Sunday. And Murtaugh gets there, and, they're rotisserieing the pig. And he confesses everything to Murtaugh. And Murtaugh's like, I'm getting too old for this spit.
What? Yeah, that was totally worth that setup.
Hey, look, that was a big swing.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't a Sultan of SWAT kind of swing. It was more of a Barry Bonds in jail.
Listen,
Does that work? I don't know. I just thought Bonds jail.
why didn't Barry Bonds ever open a bail bonds?
And call it Bailey.
Barry Bonds bail bonds.
Bailey Bonds. They're barely bonds.
Come on into quadruple B.
That extra B is for be quiet.
No, Barry Bonds bail bonds. There's already 4. The Be Quiet's the 5th one.
Oh, well then, yeah, it's the 5th Symphony of
Come
bail
on
bonds.
into the B&B.
Come on
And
down-
next door, there's a B&B.
Come on down to the B5. It's not a K-pop band.
Mr. Joshua.
MJ.
Can I?
It's Spider-Man.
Oh, my God.
It's Spider-Man would call.
Oh, my God. Gary Busey and Michael Jackson, friends. MJ, Mr. Joshua, Lizard Illuminati.
I'm not making that connection.
There's, me either. So I would just like to say real quick, Mr. Joshua is a terrible name. I don't like people with first names as their last name. I only like it if their first name is a last name. Like if his name was Smith Joshua.
Hi, my name is Johnson Joshua. But my friends call me Mr. Joshua. So to recap, Lethal Weapon is a movie about a cop who learns the magic of Christmas.
He's like, I'm going to kill myself. And then Murtaugh's like, but Christmas. And he's like, oh, yeah, magic. And they're like, coming for dinner. And he's like, cool.
Oh my
End of
God,
movie.
that's literally what it is. Like, it's basically a retelling of A Christmas Carol because Riggs is like, oh, bah humbug. And then the ghost of his wife visits him and says, hey, don't kill yourself, be a cop. Or still be a cop, and then Murtaugh is the ghost of Christmas present because he's still alive, and then the ghost of Christmas future is Gary Busey, who he kills.
You will be visited by 3 victims.
Now put that hollow point in your head.
Listen, the Christmas point we're making is not hollow, if you know what I mean. Here we are at Nakatomi Plaza with Mr. Die Hard and the scary guys. They're scary because they're European.
It almost sounds like a Scooby-Doo villain, like Mr. Die Hard and the scary guys.
Let's see who you really are.
Why, it's Mr. Die Hard, the owner of the Battery Club.
And I would have sold more car batteries from this terrorist attack if it wasn't for you and that mangy mutt named Bruce Willis. Wait, who's Die Hard, man?
Wait, no, Shaggy is Die Hard.
Oh, I thought he was just suffering from multiple personalities. He's all of them. He's just in a room. Ooh, you know what? What if all the diehards are a dream that John McClane is having? His plane crashed and he's in a coma at the beginning.
And he's kind of a loser type character.
He's not even a cop.
Oh, God. He's not even a cop.
He sells burner phones. Oh, that's why everything's on fire the whole time. Burner phones.
Oh, shit.
Those did not exist yet. I think this is when cell phones were the size of suitcases most of the time.
Soup cases?
Well, I said suitcases. However, you bring up a new interesting point, which is soup cases. Now,
Well, I mean, I love a good soup case because it keeps all my soups in line. It keeps them all, because they're misbehaving.
I was just thinking, if you're someone that frequently enjoys soup, you want some variety, so you buy it by the soup case because they give you like a grab bag. Like it's not all cheeseburger soup. You get like clam chowder. They don't call it chowder because legally there's no chowder in it.
Or maybe it's Clam Hauser, like referencing Total Recall. Arnold Schwarzenegger's bad.
Oh yeah,
counterpart.
I think that Schmambles actually calls their clam chowder the 3 shells.
Oh,
Demolition
there you go.
Man.
Yeah.
speaking of demolition, boy, this building in Lethal Weapon.
It really gets a 9/11 treatment.
Christ. Meaning that there are 9 terrorists and there's 11 cops, and also the top of it explodes.
And there's a leader who doesn't respond to it in a timely manner.
I really love that this movie is set up with John McClane being on the plane. Oh my God.
John McClane?
John McClane. Where were you with this story, Dr. Seuss? John McClane lands on a plane and he goes to see his wife and
whose plane?
Oh my God. She works for a man who has no plan, and the terrorists are all insane. So, oh my God. The guy next to him looks over and says, "Have trouble flying?"
Which is a good conversation starter on a plane.
At the end of a flight. I like to sit in silence next to the...
I like to watch someone suffer before I ask them about it.
I like to wait the entire flight watching someone white knuckle, and then when we land, say, "Oh, not so good at flying, huh?"
Wow.
Well, I got a tip for you. And it's, once you get somewhere, take off your shoes, take off your socks, because that's the way we likes to fuck.
God damn it, I knew it.
and make fists in the carpet with your feet. And John McClane did it when he got to Nakatomi Plaza when he was stressed out waiting for his plane wife.
His plane wife, not his wife who can change into a plane on cue. No, like she's very plain.
Yeah, not his superhero transformer wife. His wife that looks like her picture could be on like a box of like butter or margarine.
Box.
I'm not implying that she's Native American.
What? No. Like a box of butter. Like here's a cardboard box full of butter.
When you buy a box of butter at the store,
it's
like
cheaper. We all know that.
Well, first of all, yes. And if you don't have a Priceco membership, you're missing out, because it's like everything that Costco doesn't sell, they send to Priceco. And you go to Priceco, you're getting it's the FDA says you're allowed to eat it. And their butter boxes have a really plain woman on them to show you like, hey, look, this butter, it's not fancy, okay? But it is rich in calories enough that it will plump your spouse up just enough so that you don't want to fuck them anymore.
And just so everyone knows, like, us referencing her as plain Plain, no. We mean Plane, or no, Plain in that, like, she's like grass on a field. You know, like, like she's great.
The
under
actress
the right
is beautiful and she's
circumstance.
fantastic. And if you don't understand by now that we're just silly goosery,
no, she's very strong. The planes are strong.
Oh,
if you've ever seen a little movie called Lion King, the planes are strong.
Oh, that's the Savannah.
But
not Savannah, Georgia.
No. It's more like, oh, Savannah, won't you be a plane?
Susanna?
No, that's the ripoff song.
But she is a tough broad, and she's going by her maiden name because, you know, there's some tension with her and Die Hard Man, and also
she's trying to
because
strike it on her
she is racist against Asian culture and feels like they won't respect her if she's married. She says it.
No, she does say, yeah. She doesn't just imply it; she says it, and she, which, like, you know,
I'm kidding,
that's,
calling her racist, obviously,
right? No, but that's fair. You know what I mean? From a character point of view, right?
Certainly, and actually, it's just like a tactic to get ahead in business, and also it is expressive of the dynamic between her and Mr.
Exactly,
Die Hard.
and that's the kind of like complicated character stuff that I love about this movie, everybody loves about it. They may not even know why, but
Right.
like, because this movie is so much more than just like it's an action movie on Christmas, which, oh my God, there's so many of those. But there's also the character of the plane lady.
I thought you meant the actual plane itself. It lands and it goes, well, I hope no one dies hard.
God. Wow, bare minimum with that one, huh?
Well, I'm just thinking like Tommy the tank engine or whatever his name is, but you have like a face on the plane and he lands and goes, well, have a safe trip, everyone. I hope no one has to survive a terrorist attack.
I mean, I was like expecting a pun or something like, well, here we are. We've landed safely.
Jono, my comedy's very lazy. I don't know why you still expect.
Very lazy, just like nothing in this movie.
How are you the one bringing us back on track this time?
I don't know. I'm still trying to think of plane puns and failing.
No, it should be said that Jono and I both, not to speak for you, but I do think that as an action movie, sincerely, this is a near perfect movie.
Yeah,
it's really incredible. All
it's
jokes
amazing.
aside, yeah.
In fact, it's like there's no reason or there's no doubt why people are constantly coming to it and why it's such a heated debate about it being a Christmas movie or an action movie, because people just love talking about it.
Yeah.
Almost to the degree that when the plane lands, it says, I hope everyone's alive and no one's terminal.
And they're like, great joke, plane, because we arrived at a terminal. Anyway, bye, anthropomorphic plane. Time to go die hard.
I did it!
Merry Christmas, everyone.
May you all
Parry the
fly.
plane.
Parry the plane. Is it P-A-R-R or P-E?
It's P-A-R-R-Y because it's like sword fighting. I'm very smart. Sword fighting is smart.
See? There's no puns. There's no pun work there. We're dry.
I love that when John McClane McDiehard gets to Nintendo Plaza, he goes and this is not a joke. I sincerely cannot remember the gentleman's name who's the boss, but he's Mr. Boss, and Mr. Boss is really nice to him and is like, hey, welcome. Yes, you're friends with Miss Gennaro because she's going by her maiden name.
Oh, that's right.
And I think actually he just says like, oh, you're Mr. McClane. Welcome. Please have some food, like some champagne if you like. Her office is back here. Let me show you to it. And he walks her back, and some dickhead's just like snorting coke right off the desk. And he's like, "Oh, Mr. Boss, I'm so sorry. Let me just wipe the fucking most illegal drug in the country off my face."
Well, I mean, it was the 80s. It wasn't the most. It was the most used, maybe. So he probably just saw it like, office shenanigans.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, let me wipe." Yeah, he looked at it like, "Let me wipe this coffee off my face."
Whoops, spilled coffee on my shirt.
Oh my gosh, sorry. Let me get this minced bologna off my face. It's very widely used right now. It's very salty. It perks you up.
He's like tapping on his veins like, oh, excuse me. I was about to shoot up this, these eggs.
Sorry, I was about to drink this Jell-O swirl pudding with the vanilla in the middle. Don't worry, it's the zero sugar kind because 80s, we care about our waistline. Anyway, what can I do for you, sir, Mr. Boss? And then John McClane's like, you missed some. And he meant, you got cocaine on your face.
And then he took his shoes and socks off, and that's why he's barefoot. So nobody be all like, oh, why is he barefoot in the movie? Is he like a stigmata guy or something?
Well, yeah. You know what? That's good gatekeeping, is that like if you are like, oh, why is he barefoot? You didn't watch the fucking movie closely enough. So rats to your house for Christmas. And I thought that was a great setup. That like they set that up early, and like there was a reason why he did that. And then Alan Rickman, we just like shots out for Alan Rickman. Man, he was fucking amazing in everything he was in, and he was so perfect in this. No one else could have done this part like him.
No, like because especially because this is the 88, right? The 88 when this came out, and villains were just like. They were just so wacky. Like I always think of like
I'm Mr. Joshua.
Yeah. Or like in like Jack Palance in Tango and Cash. Like villains were just so bonkers. They were either crazy madmen or they were like you couldn't like relate to them in a real way.
Right.
Not that villains needed that, but having him as this sophisticated, smart fellow who I mean, it's fucking Alan Rickman. He's a deer. You can't hate him.
This character had charisma.
Yes.
And that's the thing. And I think that is key to the fact that he was leading like a very intricate, multi-ethnic, very progressive group of terrorists. Is that he was like, I'm into men's fashion. And like,
oh yeah, he knew his shit.
I'll take a cognac with Diet Tab or whatever. I know Tab was already a diet drink. And then he was like,
Diet Tab would be overkill.
I'll take orange chicken, hold the chicken or whatever. Like things that rich guys say. And you really were like, I know he's the bad guy, but when he does that evil smile and is like, I'll take the blankets over medium or whatever he said. You're like, that's how I'm going to order my blankets from now.
You going to order your blankets? You go to Target, it's like...
What, you don't order your blankets? What are you, a peasant?
No, he was he's like one of the most charismatic villains ever. He reminded me a lot of like Ursula from Little Mermaid, Like,
yeah,
where it's
he had big old tits.
I was more speaking to like all the legs he had.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, this movie had legs for sure.
No, but like I love loving a villain. Like it's so much fun, and like not that you're on their side because you don't want to go there. You don't want like when the villain dies or gets eradicated.
Connect with them in some way.
So Hans Gruber.
Oh my god! Why is there not a spoof with Hans Gruber?
Well, they had the short run candy. You know, remember when Goobers, those Goobers candies? What are Goobers? They're like chocolate covered raisins, right? That you get.
No, they were peanutty.
That nobody bought at movie houses because it's like, why am I buying this? Gross.
You know what? So maybe they were peanuts, but they felt and tasted like raisins because they'd been sitting on the shelf for so fucking long. You know, like it's like if you had a meat bar sitting out at the movies for 10 years and you're like, I don't know what this delicious nougat is, and they're like, no, that says nugget. It was chicken nuggets originally. And you're like, but it's clear, and you're like, yeah, I know, it's weird.
I can't explain physics either.
Yeah, it's clear that you shouldn't be ordering that.
When you said meat bar, I was thinking of like a bar. And instead of liquor, you just have jars of meat.
Yeah, I'll take 2 ounces of Wagyu with like 2 dashes of rabbit.
And he like grabs the bottle, turns it upside down, and he's like slowly pouring. You're like waiting. You're just like, any second now.
You know, honestly, we can serve you meat this way, but it'll be more efficient if you order meat gloves, which is... if you don't know, is from a previous episode. And they're like, wait, what episode? We're at a bar. Anyway.
I think you're referencing food gloves.
Oh, yeah, food gloves. That's it.
Food gloves. They're for your hands. You put them on your hands, you eat your hands.
So listen, you walk into a bar, and they're like, listen, you can wait 2 hours for us to let this meat slowly leach out of this bottle. Or I can give you right now meat gloves that you can snack on while you're chatting with your honey. I'll fit them to your hand. The process is painless. It takes 30 seconds.
Well, food gloves have dramatically increased work productivity because you can have your lunch while you're still working.
I also remember during COVID when no one wanted to touch anything with their bare hands.
Yeah.
Food gloves served two very important purposes. So please help the business. If you want to keep seeing.
And I know what you're thinking of, like, oh, yes, your real hands are protected, but what about the food part? Because when you eat it, isn't that just getting the coronavirus? No. It is actually constantly releasing sanitizer as you have them on.
I mean, you're getting them at a bar. The meat gloves are 60% alcohol. So they will kill any bacteria in your body, including the good ones.
However, we're not talking about salami-infused food gloves.
Oh, no, those have been discontinued for obvious reasons,
yes,
which we will not discuss.
But you can still obtain them, but we are not liable anymore.
You just got to email us at fightspodcast.com.
Okay, so the movie.
Oh, yeah. This is truly a holiday miracle that Jono is the voice of reason and bringing us back to these movies today.
Well, because Die Hard deserves to be talked about.
It really does. It really does.
And so Die Hard, he's like, oh shit, I'm barefoot and I gotta stop these not doctors. Why did I say doctors? I have to stop these terrorists.
Weird. Stop Dr. Terrorist.
Dr. Terrorist
from being scary.
From being scariest, and he steals a gun, right? And the sweater part, right? I have a machine gun.
Yeah, where he kills the Jeffrey Dahmer looking terrorist,
and it just so happens to be blonde Dutchman McFace. Like, oh, that's my brother. I'm gonna be. This is a revenge story for me now. I would love to see a short film of like his shit where it's like, oh, me and my brother, we came to this country and we wanted to be good, and he got partnered up with Hans man, and he was like, hey, we're gonna make a bunch of money, and he's like, oh man, that's just what me and my bro need in this new country. And then Jeffrey Dahmer dies and he's like, this is a revenge story.
Wow, this situation's really unique. We also would like to make money.
Yeah.
Me, Florgan, and my brother Blorgan, we are the Dutch Bros.
Yeah.
And this is actually the origin story of the coffee chain Dutch Bros.
Super Dutchio brothers.
Yeah. So there we got Dutch Bros down one. Dutch Bro now is it.
Dutch Bro. Yeah. Minus the S.
Hanging out with HG, good old HG, you know, holding it down.
He's holding it down.
Also, he tricked everyone into thinking it was political, even though they were just a robbery people.
Yeah, that's what's brilliant, because it's easy to be foreign and think that that everything's political, but it's like, oh shit, because like I'm sure the police that are on the phone, they're like, what do you want? What do you want, man? With the hostages, and he's like, oh, don't mind me. And they're like, oh, shit, it's political.
I can't understand a word he's saying. He's foreign.
Quick, give him whatever he wants.
First of all, I'd like 10 large pepperoni pizzas.
Pizza Hut.
As I understand, no one out-pizzas the Hut. It's me, the principal from Breakfast Club. We only have Domino's in this neighborhood.
You know what's interesting is that he was in Loaded Weapon 1.
Wait, who? Of the 5 people we were just talking about? Are you talking about Mr. Breakfast Club Principal Man or Hans Gruber?
Yeah, Breakfast Principal was in Loaded Weapon 1, which is a ripoff of not only Lethal Weapon, but also Die Hard. And Bruce Willis had a cameo in it as John McClane. Loaded Weapon 1, 0% Rotten Tomatoes. One of my favorite movies. Genuinely.
That checks out.
Yes, that is absolutely true.
I would like 0 Rotten Tomatoes on my pizza. Only fresh tomatoes, please.
And then he gets the pizza. Oh, they put Rotten Tomatoes on it.
So John Diehard is like, well, here I am, no shoes.
How many nicknames are we going to give this guy? It's me, no shoes.
It's me, no shoes. We're going to have some laughs. I'm going to be at TV dinner in the vents. I'm combining a bunch of different... We're trying to blow through this.
We got to get through this plot.
Yeah, it's really great. This is a story about one man facing a group of terrorists and also talking to the dad from Family Matters. And the dad from Family Matters is like, I shot a kid.
That kid? Steve Urkel.
That kid's... Oh, shit, Jono. Did you just blow this case wide open?
Wide open,
because Family Matters
is a fever dream of him trying to, like...
Is this fresh right now, or is this?
I just thought of it.
Yo, we're throwing out a hot topic right now, and I'm not talking about buying Fall Out Boy T-shirts at half price
or ICP curtains for your shower. What are those called? Oh, shower curtains
or dick-shaped coffee mugs. That's Spencer Gifts, but
yeah, it was right next door though.
Right next door, and similar aesthetic to be fair. And also, they both have a bunch of Pickle Rick stuff.
Well, they have Pickle Dick stuff. The Spencers.
Yeah, isn't it funny? It's Dick and Morty, get it? Dick and Warty. Anyway, so I'm giving away too many free ideas.
Yeah, dude, you gotta lock it down. You gotta bring it back.
Yeah, so Carl Winslow,
Carly Weathervane,
Carl Weathervane. Oh my God! So yeah, he's like, I'm a desk jockey because I shot and killed a kid. He had a ray gun. Looked real enough. And that story is actually like super sad. But
it is. Yeah.
That happened. Carl Winslow was the dad in Family Matters. He was also a policeman. And I think they also lived. Oh, well, no, they lived in like Chicago.
Well, they lived in a house.
Yes, they did live on the streets in Chicago. Yes, they live in a house, correct. Shit, like, is that the same character?
Yeah. It's
anyway.
Yeah, so Carl Wind-In-the-Winslow he answers the call to go to Nintendo Tower. And he's like, oh, there's nothing going on. Your chain might have been jerked. And so Die Hard is like, gosh, dang it. I'm tired of moonlighting in this tower. I got to get this guy to figure out that something's happening. So he throws one of the terrorists out the window onto his car, and then they all start shooting. And it's like, oh, shit, this case just got blown wide open.
In this movie, there is like not a second of dull times.
There isn't. It's because the movie itself is
just under 2 hours.
Is it? I thought it was a little over.
Yeah, you're right. It's like 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Yeah,
it just doesn't feel like
it. I guess,
because there's so much happening all the time. It keeps you moving
and not so much happening in a Zack Snyder film type way where it's just an assault on all your senses. It's like
I'm Bat Affleck.
I'm Batfleck.
I'm Batfleck. Batfleck.
I am the Bat.
I am
tired.
I am from Boston.
Hey, good day. I'm from Boston, eh?
I like beans, mate, in it. Totally nailed it.
Hockey. Sir, Bruce.
So their Batman is trapped in the vents, calling himself a TV dinner.
Those are huge vents, and seeing Bruceman in those vents, I was like, "What? They were gonna get Schwarzenegger or Stallone in this role? He wouldn't have been able to fit."
I feel like a TV dinner for a family.
No, actually, I would love to see him in that because he would just be like squished in it. He's like, I'm going through the vents.
Dunk, 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 dunk. As you see the outside view of the vents like bursting out.
And the villains are looking around like, I don't see anything. They're just having to pretend. Acting. So Bruce Wayne.
I love Bruceman.
Bruceman Willis is like, I stepped in glass, and then we get to the end of the movie when what happens? Oh, remember at the end in the showdown when Slytherin is like, "Hey, I have your wife," and
you're talking about the duct taped pistol?
Yeah, it's duct taped to his back, and he starts laughing. Ha 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 ha.
To bad Willis.
To Bad Willis, and he grabs the gun and shoots him, and then Slytherin falls out the window. Slytherin falls out the window and takes wife pants with him. And now here's the important part. I don't know if you noticed this.
Oh, now we're at the important part. Now, let's just dive right in.
Dive right in. This is the culmination of the whole movie. Remember, she got the watch because she's like she's Miss Independent, Kelly Clarkson.
Right, because her father had the watch and his father had the watch.
Yes.
And
Christopher
Lloyd?
Christopher Walken had it up his ass. No, she gets the watch because she's like, she proved to Nintendo Tower that she's an intimidating, independent woman. So, like, here's a watch, and it's a symbol of her. It's a symbol of her stance on breaking up a marriage and ruining her children's lives. And she's there holding Hans Gruber, and he's holding the watch. And then Die Hard is like unfastening the watch, and then it comes loose. And that was the only way he was holding on. And then he falls. He was literally dismantling her life because he's like, hey, sanctity of marriage is important. This is a Christian-driven movie. Sanctity of marriage is important. I'm getting rid of this watch and your ties to foreign people.
That's right. That's why the sequel is called Die Hard with a Penance, because it's very Christian. That moment when Hans Gruber falls, by the way, that expression on Alan Rickman's face is because they did surprise him when they let him go, and he didn't know they were letting him go, and so he actually was.
It's a genuine response, which is brilliant. It's
so good.
Yeah.
I also, real quick, briefly want to talk about when Hans the Grewman Taylor was pretending to be like a hostage.
Oh, yeah.
This is such a great scene. There's so many great scenes in this movie, but
that we're not going to talk about.
Where he's like basically doing a good version of like, howdy, partner, I am American.
Yeah, they could have gone full scrim with that, but they didn't. I loved it, but it was funny enough.
Yeah, they made him sound like what he is, he made him sound like what he is, which is a European doing an American accent. He didn't sound like he was really American exactly, and it was perfect because Die Hard Man knew the whole time. He was like, I'm a well-known car battery manufacturer, and our batteries last 5 to 6 times longer than our competitors' batteries, and you can find us on sale at your local O'Reilly or AutoZone with a lifetime warranty. And he was like, here's your gun, time to work with the real thing. And Mr. AutoZone is like, aha, I've got a gun now at you. And clicks it. And then diehardbattery.com/film fights is like, what, you think I'm stupid? Hans. Yeah, that's right. I knew you were a competitor battery company the whole time.
And he turns to the camera, is this really what you want? Those long trips to Thanksgiving, you break down on the road.
Also, his fancy work of like kicking the clip out and then putting it back in, but obviously he's making it look like he's changing it for a full clip, but he's changing it for
an empty clip,
and then cocking it, but actually he's making sure there's not a bullet in the chamber. Like, I love that this character, John McDiehard, is supposed to be an everyman, but he's actually like not just an everyman. He's way smarter than your average bear. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like bears can't do that.
No, not unless you're a cocaine bear.
God, I can't wait.
I can. Forever.
Oh, cocaine bear like Ellis, who tries to make negotiations, and he's like, Hans, baby.
Oh my God.
I'm a bad guy like you, and Mr. Diehard can go fuck himself because I'm trying to get into that plain wife. And by plain wife, I'm not saying she's ugly. I'm saying she got a big old chassis.
Well, it is Ellis we're talking about. I forgot about fucking Ellis. I love him.
I know, his character's so terrible.
I feel like when he asked for a Coke and they brought him a Coca-Cola,
He was like, oh.
there was a moment where he was like, sure.
What, you don't like the Coca-Cola that we have brought you?
It's not the Coke I was looking for, man.
Oh.
He had a, he was like, did he watch Bill and Ted for his like? It's like, oh yeah, you're supposed to be like Bill and Ted, but you're a Coke man.
I love it. He said things like, "I make $1 million deals for breakfast, baby. I can handle this jabroni."
Oh, I'm sorry. Was he Robert Evans?
I make $1 billion deals for breakfast, baby. I can handle this jabroni.
Speaking
Now-
of breakfast, like that time I was in a jacuzzi with Molly Ringwald, and let me tell you, baby, she was a Molly Ringworm in the jacuzzi.
Oh my God. We sat in a room full of pancakes and we ate them all until we died of dysentery.
And then the movie ends with "Let It All Snow" or whatever, which
Let
is a
it
Christmas-
all snow?
Yeah, from Nightmare Behind Christmas.
I like that Reginald Vell Johnson was like, "Come here and give me a hug, diehard man." I just thought it was sweet. That's
No,
all.
it was very sweet. In fact, like everybody had a character arc in this, including Family Matters, because he was like, I killed a kid and I never draw my weapon. But oh boy, he surely drawed it on Jeffrey Dahmer's wife or brother.
A family member of Jeffrey Dahmer was murdered.
What was his name? Blorkin that you said? Whatever, it doesn't matter.
Blorkin, yeah, that's it.
His name was Ikea. He shot him cold.
Blorkin Ikea, that's his name.
Yeah.
He got shot with a meatball gun.
Which was a good Ikea that he had.
Yeah, even Argyle Sweater Kid had a little. He learned a little something about himself, even though he was mostly just hanging out, drinking Johnny Walker in the limo, listening to Run DMC.
Yeah, talking to Hose or whatever.
Talking to Hose. No, baby, I'm coming over after work. No, my boss thinks I'm. Oh yeah, he says my boss thinks I'm on the way to Las Vegas. Like, oh, are you like? Did you steal your boss's limo?
And I like that when he saw the guy in he had like an emergency vehicle, like a hospital vehicle or whatever.
Oh, an ambulance.
Yeah, he was like, I mean, I know something's going down, but surely of all the things going down, I gotta wreck this hospital vehicle because.
Oh man, how about the FBI guys? In this movie, they're like, yeah, I can't wait to kill some people.
They were like textbook. Oh yeah, like
They were insane.
like
There was the younger black dude and the older white guy, and they were in the helicopter. The only reason I make that distinction is to know who I'm talking about, because the older white guy, when they go in the helicopter to try and shoot the terrorist, which they think is John McDiehard, he like puts on a backwards cap to hold his hair out of his eyes, and he gets a sniper rifle and he goes, "It's just like Saigon, other guy." Oh yeah, they have the same last name, Johnson.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, they're both Johnson.
And then other Johnson goes, "I was in middle school, you prick."
I actually thought that was like a really funny line.
Oh, I thought it was
so
super
funny. Yeah, because like he says it with a smile on it. He's like, "I was in middle school," and it's like, I will say that I thought, as far as like them being tertiary characters, they like front load, like, oh wow, they have a history together, because they say, I'm Agent Johnson. It's like, I'm Agent Johnson. That's right, we're both Johnsons. And it's like, and like, I was in the middle. Like, it's not even just that it was a joke. It was that it feels like that comes up a lot. Yeah, where they reference stuff, and it's like, I don't know what you're talking about, but we work together and we're great.
That's part of, like, I know we're not like a super analytical film show, but that is like part of like the texture of a well-written script is they had that moment where white guy Johnson answered the phone and he goes, Johnson, no, the other one.
Yeah.
And it's just a throwaway line, but like stuff like that is such attention to detail in a movie that is this long that keeps you paying attention the entire time. And really, really cool.
Yeah, I was not running errands while watching this movie, which is rare for me.
Well, and Johnson & Johnson went on to create a company that makes like baby shampoo and stuff. And they said, no more tears. We've seen enough of those.
Tis the season to be jolly, or is it 'tis the reason to be folly? Because Christmas. Sometimes people say Christmas things are what they are, and sometimes people say that they are, in fact, maybe not.
Right.
A perfect example, as Conrad mentioned off cast, he said, Jingle Bells is a Christmas song, but Jingle Bell Rock is actually about Christmas geology. Now, what I'm trying to really dig at here.
So grab your Christmas shovels.
Grab your Christmas shovels and your Christmas pickaxes, because we're here to really talk about
jolly old Saint Pickaxes digging up the dirt on whether or not these movies are Christmas films or not, right?
Yes. Now, we have a special guest on the show. He is a Christmas expert, Dr. Friend. So Dr. Friend, I love you. I know you came all the way out here just for a 5-minute talk, but we appreciate you coming out, and we know that you're the expert on Christmas, and we wanted to really get in with these movies and really settle the debate. Now, welcome, Dr. Friend. How are you?
Yeah.
Thank you for coming into our show.
Yes, I'm happy to be here.
And really putting a silencer on this debate about Christmas movies.
Like action movie pistols. Yes.
Yes, correct.
That is what a silencer is, mostly, yes.
Yes, I apologize. We do that all the time, me and Con, where we make jokes.
Yes.
But there's no joking about whether these movies are Christmas movies.
Yes, funny observation.
Thank you. I try. So, Dr. Friend, let's start with Lethal Weapon.
Yes.
Is Lethal Weapon a Christmas film?
Well, I think that if you are talking about whether something is or not a Christmas movie, first you need to look at whether or not it contains Christmas spirit. Now, I have done lots of independent research, and from what I have extracted, this contains 722 milligrams of Christmas spirit that is measurable by hydrometer and measurable by temperature of the chemical element itself. And from that, I determined that this film is 72% Christmas movie, which is over the threshold of 66%, making it a Christmas movie indeed, yes. Also, there is cocaine in it, which I enjoy at Christmas time.
And we all know what cocaine is used for. Skiing, which you do on Christmas.
Dr. Friend, I'm also a fan of cocaine. Yes, pleasurable chemical substance.
Well, I don't know about that. It's supposed to be like natural. But that's neither here nor for. So So Christmas movie. Okay, so Christmas movie Lethal Weapon is what you're trying to say.
Well, if I'm being perfectly honest, I do not like talking about death as far as Christmas unless we are talking about A Christmas Carol, which was written by Charles Dickens in the 18-somethings.
So what you're saying is that Lethal Weapon is a retelling of A Christmas Carol, which is a Christmas movie.
What I would say about Lethal Weapon is that it contains many Christmas themes, and in a movie that contains many Christmas themes, I think that would put it in a category that some might consider to be a holiday film.
Conrad, is that enough? Do you think that's enough?
I think that might push it. You know what, Jono, let's move on to the next one.
Let's just move to the
Let's
next
see
one.
what
Okay,
he says about the other one, about
cool.
Die Hard.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm glad he can't hear us talking aside, though.
Yeah.
He's looking around. Oh, well, very good. Well, then let's move on to our next assessment.
Yes.
How do you feel about Die Hard? Is that a Christmas movie?
I really like Hans Gruber. I think that he's a very charismatic villain. I also like that they pour Ellis Coca-Cola during the negotiations, because there's nothing more refreshing during Christmas time than a nice cold Coca-Cola, because I like polar bears and I like that they dress up as Santa Claus.
Oh, okay. You're referring to the Christmas commercials with Coca-Cola bears, and they're enjoying Coca-Cola.
I also enjoy the use of helicopters in this movie. I think that helicopters are an expression of man trying to escape from the earth, which is the supreme expression of man trying to ascertain his independence from God itself. And I think that is an important theme throughout all cinematic history. And so for that, I like this movie, yes.
Oh, like the classic story of Icarus, which does pertain to Christmas, which also relates to the journey that John McClane has, because he's constantly trying to reach the sun, his son, that he had with his wife.
No, not at all, because I think that John McClane is constantly trying to get further from the top of the building, and so I think that is the opposite of Icarus, who was trying to go up, and the top of the building burst, and John McClane righted the fire hose down the side of the building like Batman, and so I actually think it's possible to imagine this as an origin story for Batman.
Interesting. Interesting you should bring that up, Dr. Friend, because Batman Returns was a Christmas movie. Would you agree?
Well, I do like Danny DeVito's performance. I like when he ate the raw fish altogether, and I like his long nose. It was very fun, and altogether I like Tim Burton's interpretation of the characters.
Okay, we're getting a little off track.
Hang on. I think that maybe if we could just zero in on the topic at hand. Okay. So I think Jono and I are trying to ask you definitively.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Are Lethal Weapon and Die Hard holiday Christmas films? I see no chestnuts roasting over an open fire. I see no presents being unwrapped. But I think that the spirit of both of them is the spirit of humanity, which is that.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Doctor. We're running out of time. We've got to wrap things up.
Thank you for having me. Yes, thank you. We'll just you can buy a flight home back to your place.
Yes, out of your own pocket, as we agreed.
Oh, okay. Well, just okay. Bye.
Yeah.
I shouldn't see myself. Okay.
Bye.
Thanks.
All right.
Well, I guess we'll never know.
Well, I mean, if you want it to be a Christmas movie, it is, and if you don't want it to be, then why are you bothering me, dude? I don't care. They're good movies. But what's really important on this show is not whether or not they are a thing, is whether or not they win. So, Conrad, the moment has come. What do you think is the winner of the film fight time?
Wow, we have talked a lot about both of these movies, and I truly have to say, even with all the joking and everything, these are both amazing movies. I love both of these movies so much. Lethal Weapon is really funny and interesting. Die Hard is basically a perfect movie. And for that, I have to say,
I wonder.
I honestly have to say, as much as I love Lethal Weapon, Die Hard for me it's pretty perfect. There's not a lot I have to criticize about it.
Oh no.
Yeah.
And your lead up to that was so perfect. It was almost like if you were at prom and you were like, Diane, I just love how you wear anything. And Sally, you're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, that checks out. I broke up with my girlfriend at prom. True story.
Wait, is she still your girlfriend now?
know she's dead.
Wow. Wait, she died because you broke up with her at prom? Did you kill her?
That's right. It was the beginning of Lethal Weapon.
She was a suicide lady.
No, she's probably still alive.
Oh, she was the Riggs in your life.
But she has children, so she's basically dead. Anyway. Jono.
Dead tired from being a good mom.
That's
probably.
right, I'm sure.
Me. So yeah, I love these movies. I think these particular franchises probably have the best overall track record as far as like sequels to an action film. But I'm gonna agree that Die Hard cinches it out. Because Lethal Weapon is wonderful. It's basically a retelling of Christmas Carol, which is my least favorite Tales.
It's basically a retelling of Christmas Carol.
Yeah. Ghost of Christmas Past is Joe Pesci. Oh, wait, that was fucking 2 again. Well, hell, you heard it here, folks. Die Hard is the winner, everybody. Merry Christmas and all that.
So listen, folks, if you're trapped on the 30th floor and you're trying to kill the terror men, just shoot us an email at battles@filmfightspodcast.com. We cannot help you, but maybe we'll mention you on a future episode. Let us know if you have battles for us. Connect with us on Facebook and Instagram, Film Fights Podcast. And hey, whatever holiday you're celebrating, do it safely and funly. And please be listening to us.
Always be listening.
Always
to
be
us.
listening. ABL.
And
put the cocoa down.
and hey, it's such a joyous Christmassy time that I hate. And stay tuned for the next time we meet, because maybe we'll talk about another recent Christmas movie that just came out.
And maybe we'll talk about meat.
And maybe we'll talk about
Christmas meat.
Christmas meat in a bottle at a bar.
So keep those bottles of meat warm. Keep your feet cold, because that's the recipe for a good holiday.
Yeah, and ball those feet up on a carpet somewhere.
That's right. Ball your feet up on a carpet.
Just McLean them up and...
Bye!
So poetic. the ultimate lethal suicide. The ultimate. Wait, isn't all suicides lethal?
The successful ones are.
Can you imagine those going hand in hand? The suicide was successful.
Congratulations, General. The suicide was successful. So I'm speaking to you from beyond the grave.
I thought you were talking about someone else.
Yep. See, that's the twists and turns of a good action movie. You never know what's going to happen.